All right, folks, today we have an episode, real basic meat and potatoes type episode, but it's a good one. But I also wanted to let you know that Ninja Sex Party is on tour. We have 2 shows left in St. Petersburg and Dallas that have tickets. And also I'm doing solo shows as Ninja Brian, Trim Magnifique, all that stuff. Those are May 30th in Orlando, June 1st in Greensboro, North Carolina, June 4th in Nashville, June 13th in Las Vegas. That's a free show. June 16th in Portland, Oregon, and June 19th in Seattle. So go to linktree/Ninja Brian. That's linktr.ee/Ninja Brian to get tickets for those. And go to patreon.com/Late Night to support this show over there. Enjoy this episode. Well, do you want to address the elephant in the room, so to speak?
That I got thoroughly trounced at Scrabble this morning?
I mean, I guess I guess I won. I can't actually remember.
In my defense, I was winning for most of the game until you played a bingo, and then it became a futile practice for me to try to catch up.
That is how Scrabble works. It's it's not over till it's over, as they say. It's not over till the tile bag's empty, to use an old baseball phrase.
And we really stretched the limits of what the tile bag will give us in those final moments.
Yep, the Scrab Sack really had some extra work to do today. But
for me, it became rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. But the Scrabble
practice
pull,
you're quite good at, by the way.
I'm awesome at it. My pulling the tiles out of the digital bag gave me the perfect compound word, which was "come down."
Which you didn't rearrange it. That's just how it.
I did not. That's how it came out. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So
and spell it, please.
CUMTOWN.
Come down. So down spelled.
Did I say a T instead of a D?
You did.
I referenced a podcast that exists.
I felt somehow that I wasn't going to correct you on that one.
No, thank you.
Because I also wasn't totally sure.
That's really embarrassing for me.
But
yeah.
Well, it's also, you got it when you're correcting someone. You always have to be, we've all did that thing where you're in public and someone says something wrong, a stranger, and against all of your better instincts, you're like, well, actually, blah, blah, blah. And whenever you say something like that, you are guaranteed to have misheard or misunderstood what they said. And actually, you are wrong and they got it right. Always. 99.99% of the time. So I heard you say T and I was like, I think she said T, but I didn't, I'm not.
Never lived.
Wasn't fully confident. So, but yeah, so you did spell come town, but actually, Leighton, you meant to spell come down.
Down, yeah. It's because my YouTube algorithm keeps trying to get me to watch Come Town.
Remind me what Come Town is. What is it?
It's a dumb podcast. It's a podcast that makes me feel like a good podcaster in comparison, which is pretty damning.
Great. Speaking of, it sounds like actually you're about to say a thing.
Speaking of rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic, what the fuck is wrong with me? I'm in the midst of heavy medication changes and it's making me stupider. I've been watching a lot of Titanic content on YouTube. I didn't realize there was such a niche for that, but and then I read A Night to Remember, which is a book written about the Titanic.
Okay.
It's interesting stuff. There's a real-time animation of it sinking that includes all of the signals sent out and has the music.
That's interesting.
I love watching that. It's awesome because it's so, they update it every year. It's so finely detailed, does the interiors.
Huh.
But the last 20 minutes are pretty harrowing because it's pretty calm up until that point. You got the music going.
Wait. So tell me again what this is. This is it's a recreation of.
Yeah, it's the 3D recreation of the Titanic sinking, from hitting the iceberg to the sinking.
Wow, crazy.
Which is 2 hours and change.
And wait, you have your local recording, right?
I do. Is my
Okay. No, you're fine. I'm just making sure because I couldn't remember if you said yes. So it's a 3D recreation from outside, inside, all of the
all
above.
over. I literally
Wow.
sent it to you.
Is on. Did you put it on the
Actually,
chat?
no, I didn't. I'm such an asshole.
That's when you double down. That's when you say you didn't get it. I sent
Yeah.
it, and then you get real self-righteous about it. That's the actual move.
Well, that's not what I do, man. Hold on, I'll drop the link in the private chat. This is from everybody following along at home. This is from Titanic Animations.
Okay. I'm gonna turn this down. Whoa! Look at that Titanic go.
And there's another great channel called Ocean Liner Designs, which is like a guy who's a marine researcher. I really want to have him on the show, but he's a marine researcher who like specializes in sinking. So he's done videos on like the Lusitania and a ton on Titanic. And he like collabed with this channel to use their animations as he's talking about it. But he did a really good color correction of when the Titanic actually broke in half, because everything that recreates it, or the movie, makes it brighter than it is, when like the reason so many people disagreed about whether it had snapped in half was because they literally couldn't see it. They could just hear it.
Oh, interesting.
So like the only way they could get an outline of it was by seeing where the stars weren't after all the lights went out. So
crazy.
and one of the survivors said that he went to like a baseball game afterwards and then could never go to one again because the sound of the crowd cheering just reminded him of what it sounded like after it sank and then it going quiet.
Wow. That's very interesting because this, and I'm not doing a bit because I've never done one. I was watching Hindenburg content
Really?
this week. I was. Because
What
I learned,
humanity.
here's a question for you, Leighton. In which U.S. state did the Hindenburg disaster take place?
Was it New Jersey?
It was New Jersey. Yep. It's
Wow.
actually the second biggest disaster to ever happen in New Jersey. The first was a recent Billy Joel concert.
That's good. Speaking of medication changes, this is a random thing I was thinking about the other day. Whenever I have a manic episode, I will obsessively re-listen to the same 2 songs over and over, and it's a different one every time.
Oh, wait, can I guess the most recent?
Well, the most recent was a few years ago. Thankfully / unfortunately, mixed feelings, as probably any bipolar person has. But I knew something was wrong when I was like, I love Pressure by Billy Joel.
No, that's as sure a sign of psychosis as I've ever heard.
It's not psychosis, but I get it.
Or, okay, what's the right word?
Mania.
Mania. Okay. What's the difference?
Well, psychosis is a psychotic state where you're hallucinating and there's all
Oh,
set of
I didn't know
symptoms.
this.
Mania is different.
Okay.
But
that's-
bipolar mania can veer into psychosis, which is a thing that I fear greatly.
Well, I was trying to, let me rephrase. I was trying to come up with a blanket term for being all fucked in the head, and liking a Billy Joel song is about as serious a condition as you can have.
Yeah, so now I can never hear that song again. It's always like some high BPM thing, like what's the name of the song? Multiple Initial D songs. Just when gas starts sounding really, really good, and like, this is the tempo my brain's moving at. Anyway, Titanic content, very good. And speaking of something sinking down to the bottom of the ocean, welcome to Leighton Night with Brian Wecht. I'm Leighton Gray, that's Brian Wecht, and here we are.
Here we are for another guestless episode. Although I do have someone on the hook, I think, for next week. A returning favorite.
Ooh.
But yeah.
I was going to request another returning person, but I'll tell you after the show.
Oh, a specific returning person.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, great.
Well, maybe been on once, twice. I don't know.
Well, yeah, so we're here, just us again, and we have, I'm sure, much to talk about today. My particular schedule is completely nuts. I'm leaving for Nauticon with the SGU, which will be happening this weekend in White Plains, New York. When this comes out, it'll be Nauticon weekend. If you're in the New York, New Jersey area or anywhere near where you can get to White Plains, there are still tickets available because it's a big room and you can show up for a day or a weekend. So if you don't know what to do this weekend, come to Nauticon, hang out with me and the SGU. And speaking of past guests, George Robb, Andrea Jones-Roy, and a lot of other
Jay
cool,
Novello?
fun people. Well, he's there with the SGU. So when I say the SGU, he's part of that. Yes. And yeah, should be a good time. So, but I'm going crazy preparing for that right now. I'm writing puzzles. I'm preparing a little presentation. I'm doing meetings, just
Wow.
living my best life.
That's great. I'm happy for you. Wait, why were you getting into the Hindenburg?
Why was I came up in a thing I was reading. I think it actually might have been Adam's book. Maybe there's a Hindenburg reference in the book that sparked something. I can't quite remember. But so I was just looking it up because I realized that people always talk about the Hindenburg announcer, right? The humanity guy. I've never heard or seen that. And
It's pretty good.
It's like a meme. So I was like, I'm going to go watch it. And I was reading about it. And then I was like, oh, New Jersey. I'm actually, I probably at some point knew that the Hindenburg was a New Jersey thing, but I did not remember that. When I looked it up, I was like, wow. And I felt that pride / shame, I guess, terror, disappointment, whatever, horror,
I do love the
humanity.
synonym. I almost said cinnamon. This is really fucked up. The synonym for airship, which is dirigible.
Yes.
That's
I like
a great
dirigible.
word.
It is. It's the assonance of the I's. Dirigible.
Yes, it is. And another similar one, which is velocipede.
For a bicycle.
Yep. I like defenestration. Very different word, but I like that we have such a specific word for throwing somebody out a window.
Yeah, and many such defenestrations in Prague, notably. Did you know there's several historical events called the Defenestration of Prague, where they threw people out of a window?
Wow.
Yeah, look it up. I think that there's at least 2. I think maybe more than that.
I'm not going to do that because my dog is wrapped around both my hands right now and appears to be sleeping.
Yeah, don't do it then. But yes, there were several defenestrations of Prague. I went to the castle, I believe, where said defenestration, at least one of them, took place. Big, that was an important moment for me. Because you read about these defenestrations, and then when you see the window, you're like, oh yeah, that was bad. That guy died.
I guess if you're going to be defenestrated, I would want it to be out of a castle.
Yeah, totally. I think that totally
That's
makes
the coolest place to get defenestrated
Or a
from.
tower, maybe just like a cool tower, right?
Yeah, but not a skyscraper and not like a regular house. Because
Not
if
a
I'm getting
skyscraper, no.
defenestrated, I want it to kill me. I don't want to have a repeat of falling off my roof.
Is defenestrate, is it a transitive or intransitive verb? You can't defenestrate yourself, right? You have to defenestrate.
That's a good question.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
What's
I
your
like
favorite
dirigible.
word? And I mean this, it can't be a silly word like cum or a swear word. What's your favorite non-swear or sex word?
I'm not sure I know any. That is a good question. I mean, I don't have. The short answer is I don't have a favorite. There's all like the meme words or the words that like smart kids know and show off, like the what is it? Floxinalcinoprolificating.
That's how you say
Right.
it. I've known that word forever, and I've not even approached pronouncing it.
Don't take. I'm not an authority, so don't take it. But it's like
Yeah.
floxinalcinoprolification.
Yeah.
Right. Do you remember the definition? If I said that correctly.
It's like using overly long words, right?
No,
Oh,
that is the act of estimating something as worthless. Is that one?
That's dumb. I declare that word. word.
It feel a lot of these words feel like they're just like the miner's lung disease. What is it? Pneumo ultra microscopic silicon volcaniconiosis, something like that.
Jesus Christ.
I believe that is a made up word that was made up, and we really should look this up because I'm not. My memory is not great on this. I think someone might have made it up in order to make the longest word or something like that. That kind of showboating verbiage is, I think, anathema to how a normal word fan should conduct themselves.
Anti-disestablishmentarianism.
Yeah.
Was when I was very proud of being able to spell as a kid.
Well, that, here's something interesting with that word to me is you hear it when you're a kid and you're like, oh, that's what it was, the longest word of the OED or something like that, right? And you just kind of learn it as like, oh my God, I know a long word. And then I have now aged into, oh yeah, of course that totally makes sense. That is a normal word. It's a
follow. Yeah.
You're anti-disestablishment. That's a perfectly normal word.
Perfectly cromulent word.
Disestablishmentarian, someone who's in favor of disestablishing something. I believe it was a Church of England thing, maybe. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think so.
Disestablishmentarianism. Okay, that is the belief system of a disestablishmentarian. And then if you're anti-disestablishmentarianism, it totally makes sense. You're anti this other belief system. Honestly, there's not a lot of bullshit going on with that word. It's a memey word, but I think it totally makes sense.
I get mad because one of the things that I like about reading almost exclusively ebooks instead of paper real books, I believe this is a line in Dream Daddy, but like people who get really snitty about reading real books over ebooks are kind of more in love with the idea of reading a book than actually physically reading it.
They want to be seen with a book.
Yes. But I like being able to highlight a word and see what it means. And I always play a game with myself where I guess what it is and try to figure it out.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
a good
I look
game.
at the definition. It's great. I love doing that. I get really mad when there's no like romance language core of it where it's like, how the fuck am I supposed to know? I like the word avarice a lot. I think that's up there in terms of my favorite words. For some reason, I don't know why. I like the V. I like what it describes.
It is true when you get a particularly tasty little like a J or an X or something in there, you're like, hell yeah.
I love that. I just love reading. Reading's so great. As I mentioned on the mini-sode, I got a copy of an out-of-print book, which I'm super happy about.
There it is. Look
William
at this.
Gass, The Tunnel. Look at it.
Wow, nice and thick.
And it's my favorite. It's my.
That's a chonker, I believe, as they say. What? It's a chonker of a book.
This is my favorite material for a book, a paper. I prefer paperbacks. Shut up. The cover and back, it's like that smooth, really nice.
Yep.
Because
I know what you mean.
I get sensory issues if it's like the scratchy style of color on a paperback.
Totally agree with you. And do you know what else I don't like in a book? When the pages are the kind that are like different lengths, so they're like sticking out, and like your leaf, it's not even on the page side. It's like all different lengths. It's like how they're cut. Ugh. Yeah. I hate it.
Disgusting. Awful.
Yeah.
And just
reprehensible, even.
Wow, good word. When I do read physical books, especially as I did when I was in treatment, that was my first time reading physical books in a while because they don't even let you have a Kindle, which sucks. Anyway, I'm a big dog earer. I highlight, I write in the margins. It's my book. I'll do what I want with it. I'll love it well. I'll treat it right. And on hardcovers, I feel weird doing it. I immediately take off the dust jacket because I can't read it if it has the dust jacket on it.
Give me that dust.
Yeah,
gotta
load it
have
up.
that dust. Yeah. I remembered a word I really like: anodyne.
Yes.
Anodyne. Is one of my
I was
favorite
trying
words.
to think of anodyne. That is a really good one.
Stultifying. I like stultifying.
Stultifying. Cadaverously. Or cadavering as a verb. That's a very Thomas Ligotti word.
I'll tell you what I used to like more than I do now is these like invented kind of 19th century Victorian-ish words. So there was a real language explosion in the 19th century. I think roughly, contemporaneous with like mass market printing and stuff like that. And Victorians love to invent insane words. And the one that always comes to mind is like micturation. meaning the act of peeing on something.
It's a pretty cool word. I don't know.
But if you look up like invented Victorian words, there's some survived. Some of them are fun. Is codswallop a Victorian word? I can't remember. But words like the absquatulation, stuff like this.
On your list of things that you're into.
I believe some of those I got when I looked up cool Victorian words because I was like, I want a couple of these.
It needs a little juice. I love the word harlot. I think harlot is one of my favorite words.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's a good. It feels like it intended to be an insult, but is actually a cool thing to be.
Yeah. Vulva, also with 2 V's. That one just rolls off the tongue.
Mm-hmm. What? Can she say that?
No, I can't. No, I cannot. Sanguine is another word that I like.
Mm-hmm. Because of the blood?
No, it just sounds good. I like the 4 humors in general.
What are they? Aqueous? Vitreous? Wait, no, right? Are those humors?
No,
wait,
choleric.
What are aqueous and vitreous? Those are
like chemical.
No. That's like
It's describing a solution.
I thought these were what are the humors? I can't remember now.
Vitreous is like glass in appearance or physical properties.
Yeah, but aqueous and vitreous, I thought there were like 4 humors or 4 fluids that were supposedly, thought to make up the body. And it was like aqueous, vitreous, blood and bile or something like that.
I mean, you're describing the words that they say: sanguine, choleric, melancholic, and phlegmatic.
Okay, wait, I gotta look this up. Hold on.
Yeah.
Aqueous.
I think that you're a mix between sanguine and melancholic, and I'm definitely just pure melancholic and maybe phlegmatic.
Well, aqueous and vitreous humors are in the eyeball, so that is true.
Oh.
Okay. But so maybe I'm talking actual humors, and you are talking the classic humors.
The pseudoscience, yes.
Yeah, right.
Oh, I like ventricle.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one.
Mm-hmm. A lot of good body names.
Yeah, the iliac crest is a cool one.
Well, I think we saw a few of those because we went to the Ren Fair this weekend.
Oh, brother, how was it?
It was hot. It was very hot. I had a good time. Met some fans. The Ren. I pulled maybe the best move I've ever pulled at the Ren Fair, which is to not eat any of the food there.
Oh, genius.
Yes, right. Like I had a bigger breakfast before we went, and then I didn't have to eat it all, which was great. Because,
do you want to pay $25 to get a slice of the worst bread you've ever had, plus the worst cheese, plus the worst sausage? Enjoy. Right. You also waited 20 minutes in line for this.
That's correct, and it's cash only, which you only found out after you got up there. They had this is at least the second year where they've had this. They had a poke. They were serving poke, which is I don't
anachronistic.
think I would get that. Well, yes. They had a dumpling, like a dim sum type thing. Audrey did have a good lemon sorbet in a lemon, the thing where they take the rind and they put the ice cream in it. That was good. But yeah, we actually, to me, the Ren Fair is all about the live performances. I don't dress up. Rachel and Audrey dressed up, but I have no interest personally in dressing up for the Ren Fair.
Because you live it every day.
I live it every day. But Rachel and Audrey looked very cute, and Audrey had a great time. But I don't know. We spent 3 to 4 hours there, which was more than enough. We saw the joust. We saw the aerialist. We saw a really great acrobatic duo called Accidental Acrobats. They're all the classics, Mooney, Brune, etc. I realized because I always go with my daughter, I've never been in the very small R-rated section of the Ren Fair. So I mean, I'd love to go experience some bawdy lasses and lusty wenches, but none more to be
terrible.
Found. Yeah. We did see, and someone caught this right away and talked to her, a full-on boob flopping out of a top, and this woman's friend leaned over. She did not notice. Woman's friend leaned over and she just fixed it.
That's a
quickly.
real bro. That's
Yeah,
a bro
right.
move.
Yep.
That's it's like I was wearing a denim, like a very cool 90s denim halter dress out. There was a cafe across from where my art history class was, and I was standing in the line feeling cute. And then I felt the girl who I barely knew like pull the strap up, and she was like, "Your boob was just out." And she like retied my halter for me, which was such a move. And then I was humiliated going into my art histoy class, even though we were in there to look at boobs in Renaissance paintings.
Right. But when it's your boob, it's a different story.
Yeah. Have I talked on the show about how the highest I've ever been was at Ren Fair?
I don't, if you have, I don't remember it, so I want to know everything.
My wonderful friend Saya, who I met on Tumblr in the early 2010s, came out to visit me, and I was going to the Ren Fair with a big group of gamers that I will not specifically name here, but she was going off to do a different thing, and I was like, oh, I really want to bring weed, and she was like, here, take my vape pen. And she's from the Seattle area, so the good weed scene
Vape
there.
Central, yep.
So I took it. We went to Ren Fair. It was also my first time there. And we're hanging out and we're all taking rips off the pen. And I had not sampled it beforehand. And then slowly we all realized that we were frighteningly high. And everyone was like, what the fuck was in that pen? And so we're like waiting around for food. Everybody's extremely anxious. Like it's extremely hot and dusty. We're all kind of losing our shit. And also Ren Fair is peak. All of the people we're with getting recognized by fans was additionally a thing. And so we're like, okay, we're going to go check out one of these live shows that are around. We're going to go sit, and maybe sitting in like a cool shaded area and watching a thing will be good. We go and we sit on the hay bales, and it's a fucking sword swallower who is also really interactive with the audience and like calling out people who are getting up to leave. So we felt stuck there, and like Matt Watson is next to me, deathly pale, freaking the fuck out.
Because he's so high,
Yeah, watching a man swallow swords. I mean, and anyway, it was a miserable. I mean, it was fun because it was with friends, and it's a fond memory. But it turned into people never wanting to take weed from me ever again.
That's incredible.
Due to the mystery vape.
You got a bunch of YouTubers high as fuck.
Yeah, it was awesome.
That's great. I did other Ren Fair highlights included one of the ride. We did a couple rides because we have a child. One of the ride like attendees or the person running the ride was like not shy about complaining about how mismanaged everything was by her.
Hell yeah.
Thing. You know, that was fun. They did not have the bungee trampoline or the zip line this year. But there were more people giving out free potatoes than in the past. So
Like just a straight up.
Yeah, people do this thing at the Ren Fair. They give out little trinkets to people as they walk around, especially little kids. And there was, and it's always unclear to me if this is just like attendees. Sometimes it clearly is, but there are other people who are like posted up somewhere and just handing shit out. I don't know how official they are, but one guy was giving out little potatoes to people.
That's lovely.
So,
That's very medieval.
Very medieval. We saw the joust. Joust, honestly, now the joust is always, every time I've been to the joust, it's exactly the same. It's not always the same outcome, but it's the same thing, which is fine.
Yeah. Not breaking kayfabe.
No, we're really
Another
not.
word I love.
Although I will say this year, that's a very good word. This year, the nights were a lot more vocal in a funny way than I've seen them in the past. They were really like doing bits and in a way that completely worked. So I thought there's one, like the main announcer is a woman on a horse, and then she's got 4 knights who are doing various, whatevers. And they were all like talking trash about each other in a very endearing way. I thought it was really great.
I like that.
Yeah.
Speaking of animals and also seeing a grown man incredibly afraid, I was at the grocery store this morning, and I was getting into my car, and I looked around and I saw a very buff man in a muscle shirt hauling ass with his groceries and waving around his head. And then I watched 2 pigeons dive bomb him. And the look on his face was like over his shoulder, sheer terror and disgust and rage. And I was so glad I was in my car because I lost my shit. I could not. I was driving out of the parking lot still cracking up. It was so
That's
fucking
great.
funny.
Pigeon
An
attack.
extremely buff guy hoisting his groceries, running.
I love it.
Yeah, you don't see people running like that in public a lot. That's
Especially
a panic
not from
run.
birds.
No, especially not from pigeons.
I've been yelled at by birds a few times last week because we have a nest that's in our porch here.
Mm-hmm.
A dove has created a nest, and my family is obsessed with the dove, and she's just been sitting on this nest for over a week now. So I think we're going to get baby doves pretty soon. But occasionally I get yelled at by what I presume is the male in this couple when, you know, he's bringing sticks back and I walk out to the garage and ruin his life.
They're
I
plotting
think
their
maybe
attack.
he can pick up that I've kind of got a thing for his lady, and
She's kind of
should
into
they-
it.
kind of into it. Like, who wouldn't be? I get it, but I didn't need that smirk. But whatever. I think he can tell that if the opportunity arises and he's away for a little too long, me, a true Alpha Sigma Giga Chad, is going to step in and just kind of, you know, riz up his lady.
You're like the whole Greek alphabet by this point.
I am. Yeah. Yeah. Audrey, I believe I used the phrase Alpha Sigma Giga Chad at home, and Audrey almost passed out because she was like, nobody says Sigma anymore, Dad.
Oh my God. Yes.
Yeah.
She is really grown up.
I know. It's pretty great. Here's some bullshit. You want to hear some bullshit?
Yeah.
The first fifth grade dance first and only fifth grade dance is in about 2 weeks.
Oh my God.
I will be chaperoning,
Good.
wearing my finest collection of fedoras. And when is this dance, like in terms of during the day, Layton? When you're scheduling the only dance of the year, when do you do the dance?
A cool 10 a.m.
1:20 p.m. until 2:30, so that it happens fully during the school day.
That's wild.
I could not believe it when they said this. Like, literally couldn't believe it. I just assumed it's a dance. It would be an evening thing with parents chaperoning. Also, the idea that I have a child who's old enough to attend a dance, I was like, this is insane. The idea of going to a dance at any age, much less approaching middle school, filled me with terror. I definitely went to a 6th grade dance. I had a bad time. I went to a 7th grade dance. That was also awful. But at least the 8th grade dance was terrible. All dances, nope, not my scene. I don't dance. I don't know how to do any of it. And terrible.
Those were,
I hate the whole thing.
honestly, those were fine with me because my friend group of all extremely nerdy guys, we would just cluster up next to the snack table and I would spend my full remaining $10 on Skittles and Gatorade and whatnot.
Yes.
And so we would just kind of lurk.
Oh my God. But the idea of like, you're maybe supposed to ask someone to dance.
Oh, it's going to be so funny for you to watch though.
That's why I wanted to chaperone. So I can be like, get it, girl, stuff like that. I'm going to be
get
shouting
kicked
my
out.
little catchphrases. Oh, damn, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's going to be,
Getting escorted out of the 10-year-old dance.
I'll take escorted out as long as it's not arrested. But I'm gonna restrain myself. I will merely be very, very funny. And by the way, I'm gonna tell you right now, Audrey's friends find me very funny in a way that Audrey
she hates
definitely does not. Yep, she hates it. She hates it.
I'm trying to remember when I was in 5th grade. I'm trying to remember if it was a dance or if it was like a graduation plus little party. But I remember being in a rictus of terror because the boy that I had liked all through 5th grade and who I later found out really liked me
I'm
too.
gonna, right now, erectness of terror.
That's good. That's good. And I, the
So
whole
the boy,
time,
sorry, the boy you liked all through. Did you say 5th?
5th grade, because
Fifth grade.
I got redistricted after 4th grade into a different school. And I was, the whole time I was like, can I naturally force a hug with him because it's graduation? Can I do it? Can I make it happen? We did not hug. Also, it because it was in my school cafeteria, and we had a really weird thing where there was a traffic light on the wall. And I don't know if it was manually controlled by like a monitor or if it was like an actual audio thing, but it would go like green is like the volume in here is acceptable, and then it would go down
really?
to yellow to red. And God, the lunch monitor was such a bitch. She was the worst and would scream at us, and like if it went to red, we had to be totally silent. It's like, I get it. Like, it's hard to enforce, but kids are loud, and it would make me so, I was afraid of any sort of rapprochement from any authority figure, because I got enough of that at home. And so it would get to yellow, and I would be palpably nervous, like I'm personally responsible for the noise level in this cafeteria at this moment.
Yeah,
I hated that. Why do that?
I don't understand. Some educators seem to actively hate children. Never
I
really
had many of them.
Yeah, right. I
And
never
also,
really
it's the
understood
worst
it.
when you have the teacher everyone hates and that you hate, but you're their favorite. And then it turns into everyone hates you because of it. So like, what did I do wrong? It's my fault that this teacher likes me, even though they suck,
Yeah.
because I do work on time. And then people seem to think she was nicer to me because I was her favorite. No, she was not.
Meaner?
She was still mean to me. Yeah.
Was she meaner to you than other people?
She would be meaner in a more specific way. Like I remember one time she made one of my extreme, like the most studious, nerdy, calm, never got into shit friends cry over something. It's just, it cemented my hatred for her even more. Like, how dare you push the sweetest girl in the world who does all of your work to perfection to tears over a thing?
Did you have, what's the craziest thing a teacher did in school?
Life in prison. FBI investigation, class action lawsuit against the school board and county.
Yes. I do remember something
So
about
that's
this.
the craziest thing.
Well, without, let's say, getting arrested.
Breaking a bevy of laws over a 30-year period.
Well, I'll tell you mine while you think. We had a... I don't know why I don't want to say this guy's name, but I'm not going to say his name. We had a teacher who would throw chairs. Like, throw chairs across the room.
What grade?
Middle school. Like, 7th-ish grade. Like, in anger. He would erupt in anger and throw a chair. And never at a kid, but close enough.
That's a dangerous thing to throw, especially those school chairs.
Yeah, with the metal, yeah. And it was like, and the crazy, this is the late 80s. And I don't, like, if you did that now, you would be fired
Forever.
Fired forever, and one would hope, sent to some kind of anger management thing. No one did anything. It's just, we just kind of were scared and accepted that that's who the guy was and then moved on. But in retrospect, of course, I'm like, oh my, if my daughter came to me right now and said my teacher threw a chair across the room, I would be on the phone immediately and screaming at somebody.
Yeah, I think that's a valid response. I think in middle school, I had a history teacher, and I was in the class with my group of nerd boyfriends who all were huge history nerds, as was I at that point. And so we were the annoying constantly hand up, and then he would have to be like someone who's not Leighton or so and so and so and so. And it got to a point. He asked us all to be on the History Bowl team, which is a little county-wide thing.
Hell yeah.
But it turned into we didn't have to be in class anymore as long as we did the worksheets. And so every period he would send us to the library where we would quote unquote study, i.e. look at stuff on the internet.
Rules.
And so the day came because the History Bowl was during a school day and it was a field trip. He did not send out any field trip permission forms. And we all showed up in like regular clothes, which for a bunch of nerds in like 2009, 2010, we looked like shit, like unshowered, huge hoodies. I wore the same hoodie every single day. It was like a green fleece hoodie. We looked terrible. And then there were other people who were like, oh, where are you guys going
And you
on a
knew
field?
this was the day. Like you knew
We knew it was the day
this thing,
because this teacher didn't emphasize that there was any like code of conduct here. We thought it was a casual thing because it was the same attitude he had towards literally everything. And there were a couple of other students who were like, what's going on? Where are you guys going? And he was like, we're on a field trip. Do you want to come? And so there were like several unauthorized kids in tow on our little school bus.
What?
Yes. And we went to a different school to do the History Bowl. And as we got there, everyone else was dressed up in like suits and stuff. And we rolled in with extra children. And clearly the other teachers had outstanding beef with my teacher. So they were like yelling at him, like, why are these extra kids here? You can't have them. Why are they all dressed like that? Anyway, we all get on stage to do the History Bowl. And it's easy. It's easier than we had studied for. And then we realized that the kids at the next table were like copying our answers by what we were saying, even though we were stage whispering.
Really?
So we started tapping by number on the table if it was A, B, C, or D, but we would say out loud really confidently and like real stage whisper the dumbest answer. And that table kept doing it. So we were fucking them up.
Rules.
And then we won. We won by a lot. We got first place. We were in the paper. And we beat all these kids who were official.
Who were all dressed up and they were just
bow
like
ties. Yeah.
Oh, that is a real slobs versus snobs, rags to riches story.
It was great. And I still, at home, I have that newspaper clipping.
Was there like a big final round where you got to like face off, like the two finalists get to face off against each other or something like that?
I don't remember. I do remember that like there were a lot of questions about, because some of it was specific to North Carolina. Some of it was just general like president stuff. And I think there was a question maybe towards the end that was something about one of the president's like first ladies, and none of the guys knew it because it's a girl thing. And so I knew it and I got us that point.
Nice. Yeah. Do you remember any specific questions you were proud to get?
They've slipped out of my head, but boy, the high of coming out there.
That's,
I amazing.
love the idea of a bunch of gross nerds who are significantly less dressed up than everybody else
and getting treated like shit.
Yeah.
Because we came ahead by like a lot. It was not close. And while duping the kids who were trying to cheat off of us.
Did the other kids catch on that you were?
They might have, but they definitely got through a few rounds of, yeah.
Wait, and this is high school?
This is 7th grade.
7th grade. I love it.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
It was fun. Fond memory. And then when we got back, all the other teachers at our school were really mad at the teacher for bringing extra kids and also not having signed permission slips.
You can't.
You cannot do that. That's so fucked up.
Well, it's completely fucked up. And right now, like, if you didn't, at Audrey's school, if you didn't sign a permission slip, you're not going. I don't care.
Kidnapping.
Like, yeah, it's not happening. I've definitely seen kids not go on field trips because they didn't hand in the thing. I will say, though, Audrey's current teacher sometimes, and this drives me nuts, sometimes will forget to hand out permission slips until the day before. And then, because children are children, sometimes kids will forget to give it to their parents. And he'll be like, well, we're sorry, I guess. It's inadequate. But, yeah, like, the amount of, if you think things were more lax when you were a kid, just imagine, Leighton, being a child when I was a child. And then it seems like anything goes. I had at summer camp, something was, it was a day camp. I was probably 8 or 9 or something like that. And I guess I wasn't feeling well. I called home, and my cousin just came and took me off the campgrounds without checking with anyone.
Oh no.
So this would have been, I don't know, 1983 or something like that. And the guy just walked into this camp, took a child, left. And the next day, the camp called my parents basically to apologize and say, hey, we should have checked that guy was allowed to take your son.
Yeah.
Which is very funny in retrospect. But
yeah, in thinking about that period in middle school, the classes that I was in were full of people who did not do the work and weren't very bright. And so it got to a point where I was so frustrated and bored that they would give me all the worksheets for the week at the beginning of the week in a folder, and then I would do all of them. And during class, they would let me go to the library or like hang up shit in the hallway or laminate stuff. And that just kind of, because we had the talks with them of like, can I skip a grade? And they were like, no, you can't. You should, academically you should, but socially and like it doesn't go well for kids, which I did not take well to. But
that's probably true.
I'm glad that I didn't. But my English teacher, we were, because we had vocab quizzes and shit, and this was already the advanced class. I was just doing like college level vocab instead of everybody else, which is super obnoxious. But I took my first SAT in middle school and I got a 1500 on that bitch. Which
nice.
13-year-old is pretty good.
That's very impressive.
Yep.
I'm trying to remember middle school stories. Did you take a foreign language?
I took Spanish, but the teacher was a very fun teacher, so it was more playing games, and we would do little market days where everybody would bring in a food, and then we would have to talk entirely in Spanish and do like the math of fake money. And that was always great. A lot of art projects where you would like do an illustration and label everything, and I would always go way over the top. Like there was one for a refrigerator, and my dad and I made out of a shoebox a refrigerator that we covered in tinfoil, and I made clay versions of the food. It was even magnetic on the front to put magnets on. I mean, it was obnoxious. Nobody needed to do that, but I did anyway because it was fun.
Our Spanish teacher, I believe in 7th and or 8th grade, one of the two, was the kind of person, a lovely woman who had the funny affectation of saying Spanish words ultra Spanish. So she'd be like, so my family and I, we recently went to Nicaragua, and would overemphasize the Spanish stuff in a very endearing way. But when I was in, again, 7th and 8th grade, I was in the homeroom that was the computer-centric
Oh my God.
which was based in the computer lab. And the teacher, who was awesome, she was the computer teacher, bought, and this, okay, so this would be 1988, bought a maybe 1200 baud modem, and then we looked up BBSs to dial into from the school. So we would be like dialing up, we just had this list of, and again, 80s. So it was very important that they be toll free. So we had a list of specific, exchanges in New Jersey that were dialable from the school toll free. So I forget how we got a list of BBSs. Maybe I logged on from home and printed them out. And we would just spend homerooms dialing around a very specific part of New Jersey trying to find BBSs that were still active.
That's badass.
Yep. And we found there was the Monty Python themed BBS. And I remember there was a Back to the Future themed BBS that I was very, very excited about. There was one, and I know I've talked about this on the show, and I'm curious if you remember it. We found a BBS called The Pit of Sin, which felt like we were actually breaking the law by calling it, but it was just just some nerds doing a BBS.
Oh.
But we would dial the BBS and be like, oh,
Dope
we're
name.
calling the pit of right.
We
the
call
pit
this
of
episode
sin.
The Pit of Sin.
Yeah, we have to. The Pit of Sin was a BBS somewhere around Montclair, New Jersey, in the late '80s. And if anyone knows who ran that, please put them in touch with us. And there's no, I mean, this is so pre-actual internet that
Yeah.
I would be surprised if it lasted like 3 months. But there was something, it's hard to convey to someone who grew up, significantly after that, the feeling of like dialing up. You dial a phone number from your modem and you don't know, maybe a person is going to answer, right? Because everything's just going through the phone line. So you
Yeah.
dial up this number and then you hear the modem connection sound. You're like, oh, what? And it really felt, I remember the first time we got CompuServe at home and dialing like, a quote unquote official online community. It felt like a different world. And that like, we're going to call this, BBS. I found the number somewhere and hope that it connects. It's such a cool feeling that there's just no analog for that anymore.
Yeah,
because
the internet fucking sucks now. It's the worst. And it has been a tragic, my early internet experiences are certainly very different from other generations. And I'm glad that I had this sort of transitional period, because apparently now computer literacy is garbo because it's kids growing
That's
up
right.
with app-based things and they don't even know how to like find their downloads folder.
And they're more gullible. Younger
Yes.
generations are less computer savvy and more gullible.
All through school, you could only have 2 computer sources on, like, you have to cite the encyclopedia. You have to use the Dewey Decimal System to find books, and you have to cite them. And, they would teach you, like, you can't use Wikipedia as a source, and you can't
Yep.
use this as a source. Like, anyway, but the slow heartbreak of watching the internet not only ruin itself, but ruin everyone in real life sucks so bad.
Yeah.
It's a heartbreak. It is a deep, like, grief.
Yes, I agree. I think it's, and if you grew up with computers at a certain time, you are used to, I might have to like open up the terminal on this and like they'll start fucking around with Unix or whatever. Like it's something that to me is like, okay, well, if I can't program in Unix, although I have but I don't know it well. But if I need to bust into the shell, sure. Most people would like lose their actual minds if they were confronted with trying to type a single Unix command. And I think it's very generational. It's also temperamental. Most people I knew didn't know that stuff. But sometimes, I need to print something out and, well, I'm just going to open up get that prompt. Yeah. And Audrey will never, unless she starts coding, which I hope she does. Although that's an interesting question now with, the advent of tools that can code, although not as well as you would like.
Yeah.
It's unclear how much of a skill that's going to need to, people are going to need
it's
to
still
have.
going to be valuable.
I think it will still be valuable, but it does seem like it's less valuable than it was
Yes. There's something
for
that
most people.
that I didn't want to miss out on talking about, in that I believe we have a cultural exchange here in
That's
which we have
right.
each
That's right.
indulged in the other's pop-in from some point. So
Well, do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
you go first.
I watched Inside Job.
This was going to be my guess. How was it?
Not all of it. I watched the first season and I just started the second. You're right. It's very good. It's really fun and very cute.
Isn't it like really 30 Rocky?
Very 30 Rocky. I love the voice acting's great. Lizzie Kaplan is like, I know she's great, but she's like shockingly great as like an animated voice.
Yeah.
I would not have guessed. Love Brett Gelman. Everything Brett Gelman does is funny.
He is. I find his character extremely irritating, but I love him so much that I just love it.
Yes, that's correct. Christian Slater actually doesn't do much for me on that show. He's like, whatever. Love Andy Daly. Always great. Who else is on the show?
The guy who plays Brett is amazing.
Oh, Clark
Also-
Duke. Clark
yeah,
Duke
and
is very good on that show. Yes.
What do they call the president once the robot president once they
Oh, I can't remember.
put him
now.
in the
Yeah.
tank? He's my
Yeah,
favorite
yeah.
character.
He's a great character. Yes.
Because the voice actor also does Mickey Mouse now, right?
Oh, Chris Diamantopoulos. Yes,
Yes.
that's right. Yes.
He's my favorite in the show. He's so great.
Chris Diamantopoulos is one of those actors. He plays, and I know I've talked about this on this podcast, an amazing character on Silicon Valley, Russ Hahnemann,
right.
who is a complete douchebag tech tool. And then he's also Mickey Mouse and a billion other things. He's a really great actor who does a lot of very funny stuff. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I just started season 2 and I've been having a great time. I love, they're doing the conspiracy theory stuff in a really fun way. It's very cute.
Yeah, cute is totally the word. And like, if you're listening to this and you have like autism or ADHD or any bevy of things, I think you'll probably really relate to the show.
Yeah. Also very Gravity Falls adjacent for
it is.
For it's
so
not
if you like that,
it's not run by Alex Hirsch, but it's I think the person who runs it is a Gravity Falls person or something like that. But I know Alex Hirsch writes on it or produces or something like that. Yeah.
The ending of it, I wish there was more of it, but it's
which
like
I haven't seen yet.
It made me cry. I think when the show goes tender, it really lands for me.
Yes.
Yeah. So Inside Job is great. Yeah. I'm glad that you're watching it.
Now, what's yours, Leighton?
Mine is that I watched Kevin Can Fuck Himself.
Oh, okay.
On Saturday.
Do tell. The whole thing.
The whole thing, yeah. Great concept, poor execution, in
you know what?
my opinion.
By the end, I was definitely over it. I thought it started off stronger than it ended up.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to like about it. Annie Murphy, ?
Annie Murphy, always great.
She's great. I think I'd like to see her in a different type of role. Because I watched Joan is Awful, Black Mirror, semi-recently, which is essentially the same character. And I really love who plays Patty, and she's also on Superstore.
I can't remember her name,
Chris
but
Grace.
yes, I know
She's
great.
the best part of the show for me.
Yeah, she's great.
I think that it reminded me of all the worst parts of Yellow Jackets, where there's like a seed of a really good concept and they spend almost no time going into that, and instead it's like murder hijinks. Like I thought the escalation to Allison wanting to kill Kevin happens like way too like I wanted
totally
it to simmer a bit and
totally
come to that level, and like I don't really care. Like the whole first season is like we've got to
remind people what the shtick.
The shtick is that it's like a King of Queens or Family Guy type dynamic, but it's shot whenever the husband, Kevin, is in the room. It's shot like a sitcom with a laugh track. And anytime he's off screen, it's like Breaking Bad, Ozark drama.
Right.
And it's about the wife who hates her husband, obviously, as anyone would in this situation. But like the whole first season revolving around them trying to get Oxy to kill him, and then it kind of fizzling out. And then
yes,
it reminded me so much of other like I think that it's kind of being a pastiche of prestige dramas in the same way that it's doing it with sitcoms, where like the influences from like Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul and Barry especially feel really prevalent.
Yes.
Which it grated. And the fact that I saw the creators saying that they wanted to make the sitcom not just a parody of a sitcom, but like something that could stand on its own. No, it's miserable. It's not. They're not. And there's too much of it. Like even B plots where it's just the sitcom episode when the wife isn't there. And I did like the turn that Alan takes after sort of the end of season 1, where he kind of gets really PTSD'd up and has to cut his hair and shit. Yeah. I liked that. And I thought that the friendship and the interesting, like, how do I put this? I think incels have a very specific view of how all women manipulate men with sex to get them to do things, to the point that I think you don't see the real version of that very much in media. And this felt like the show is more about codependency than anything else to me, of like, swapping targets to be codependent with, and kind of the void that comes trying to break out of a codependent relationship, especially one that's really unhealthy. But the way that Annie Murphy's character, like, is so manipulative in that way that someone who is chronically codependent can be. And like, I recognize this in my own behavior and other people's behavior, that it kind of becomes like, this is the only way that you know how to get love. And I think the pushback that she gets on, like, she's such a piece of shit. And I love that she is a piece of shit in that show. Like, she's not a saintly.
No, not at all. I mean, she's trying to
situation.
kill a guy. She's straight up trying to kill her husband.
Yeah. I don't, it was just kind of I'm glad that I watched it. I thought the needle drops were really good. And in fact, my What's Poppin' will be the final needle drop of the show, because it's a fabulous song. It's like worth a while. I was doing a hobby on my couch and watching it in the background. And that's kind of why I put it on, because it was like, I can watch all of this in an afternoon. I don't have to pay too much attention to it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think when I popped it, I was only a couple episodes in or something like that. I don't think it totally cohered by the end. And definitely at some point, and it was not too far in. I was like, well, there's only 2 seasons. I'm just going to watch the whole thing. But it started to feel like work pretty quick. I felt like the episodes were definitely too long, and there was a lot of wheel spinning.
As like a 1-season miniseries, it would have really fucked.
Yeah, I agree. I think that would have been the way to do it.
And we've already spoiled it a little bit, but the fact that the way Kevin finally dies is just Chuck from Better Call Saul annoys me.
Yeah.
Like, oh, come on, guys. But that's what the whole show is about. That's what you're going to do. You can do it being his fault in another way.
Yeah. I also liked, having lived, not too far from where that takes place, I like Massachusetts things.
Yeah.
And stuff set in Massachusetts is fun. But, I agree with
spotty
you.
accent work, but...
Yeah, well...
Like, what's Michaela Noguera doing in here? Holy shit.
I thought as a sitcom actor, and I can't remember his name, the guy who played Kevin was like pretty perfect.
Oh, he did great.
For that role. Yeah. So, yep, I think you're dead on.
All right, great.
Well, speaking of what's poppin', why don't we move on to a segment here? So our first segment on this show, we are trying this out for the first time this year. It is our pop culture recommendation segment. This is a segment where you get to talk about something you've been enjoying recently, a book, a movie, a video game, a song, perhaps even. And the name of this segment is What's Poppin', and the theme song goes here.
What's poppin'?
What's Poppin'? That was the theme song for What's Poppin', and thus I ask you, Leighton, what's poppin'?
What's poppin' for me today is the needle drop at the very end of Kevin Can Fuck Himself, which is the song Shout Sister Shout by the Boswell Sisters, which is 20s, 30s era swing. And it's so good. I can't stop listening to it. It's any song that's about the devil and sounds like that, and just the quality of it, that grainy 20s, 30s quality is just fabulous. And it really hit emotionally with that last episode, just because the culmination of the show is focused on the friendship between Patty and Alice, and she hates it. She did watch Kevin Can Fuck Himself very intently. I believe I have a picture of her watching it while she was sprawled out on the couch. But yeah, that's my very brief pop, and it's a really good song.
Cool.
Ryan, what's popping for you?
My poppin', I probably popped it before. Hacks is back.
Nice.
Hacks is back on Max. I like the show. I love Gene Smart. I love many of the people on it. Hannah Einbinder is actually she's doing an amazing job this season. I thought she started out, her character is so annoying, and intentionally so, that initially it's a little hard to tell. Now I'm just fully on board, and I think she's crushing it. And then they get all these really fun little guest stars. As always, it does do the thing where there are now 2 characters on the show where it's like, what show are you in? Why are you? There's one character played by Meg Stalter, who is so broad and insane that I can't even believe she's in the same universe as anyone else on this show.
Interesting. This is the Hazel What's Her Name syndrome.
Pretty much, yes. And I mean, she's like, the character is, they go pretty far out of their way last season to demonstrate that she has some value, why people would keep working with her, but it's not clear why anyone would keep working with her. She's just there to cause chaos. And I love an Agent of Chaos character, but tonally it doesn't work. This season they also added Michaela Watkins, who is awesome, but is also playing so broad that it doesn't seem like she fits within the show. That said, I really like it. Now they're in LA rather than Vegas because Jean Smart's character got a late night show, and there's a lot of like LA specific stuff.
Gotcha.
I just really enjoy it. And I recommend it, especially if you have any interest in, comedy or stand-up or anything like that, because there's a lot of like comedy adjacent people and in-jokes that are in it.
That's fun.
Yeah. All right. Wow, that was fast. That might be the fastest What's Poppin' ever.
Yeah. A little brief little pop. All right, now it's time for our final segment, which is 3 parts gratitude exercise, 1 part petty grousing. The name of the segment is Peaches and Lemons, and the theme song goes right here. Peaches and Lemons. Peaches and Lemons. Wow, a theme song. Incredible. I'll go first with my lemon, especially because I have a visual aid for this. Well, not a visual aid, but she needs to know. She needs to know.
Terrifying.
Nothing happened to her.
Oh my God.
She just did that.
Oh, fuck.
Did that genuinely get you?
Yes.
Wow.
Because it was right in the headphones.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, you'll probably edit it out, but maybe screamed enough to frighten Brian. So I have a bed that she loves to be on. I know this might come as a shock to people that I have a bed. And there's a bench at the end of the bed that is specifically meant so she can jump onto the bench and jump onto the bed. She started acting like she can't do that. And of course, initially
Right.
I was concerned. I was like, she's getting a little older. Maybe her
You've
back
mentioned
hurts.
something like this. Was there a carpet that she also didn't like or something?
Yeah, well, there's additional levels to this.
Okay.
So partially it was because there was a new ruck there that wasn't even, it was in the same room, not where she would jump. And I was like, well, maybe her back's hurting. Nope, my couch is at the same level that the bench is height-wise, and she gets on and off that all day.
Mm-hmm.
So I figured, well, it's probably not good to keep putting strain on her, and so maybe there's something to it if she's been doing this fine for years and suddenly won't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I got her one of those little stairs that go up onto the bench, and so over the weekend I had a bunch of treats, and
You trained her to...
she was very afraid of it, but I was able to train her to go up and to go down. Now she acts like she can't use it unless I have a treat. And so she'll sit, I'll be in bed, chilling out, and she'll sit at the foot of the bed and cry, like actually cry and whine. So I will pick her up, but I don't pick her up and put her on the bed. I show her where to go, no treat. And then I put her front paws on the stairs and she runs up it. There's no obstacle here. She just wants to be picked up. It's insane and it's driving me crazy.
You have to set a boundary. Leighton, your generation is supposed to be good at setting boundaries. Set a boundary for yourself here. Don't help this dog. Let the dog help herself.
It's so insane because I've tried. I'll do it. Like, she'll cry for a fucking hour because she won't go up the stairs. There is no obstacle. She's physically capable of it.
Yeah.
And then I come over with a treat and immediately she runs up it and
Talk about
like
codependent. Jesus Christ.
that
is the ultimate manipulation.
Like, do you understand? No, you don't. Clearly. Look at this. This is what I have to deal with. She sits there with her tongue out and cries. Her life is so hard. I got her another. There's the couch dog bed on my couch. I got her another one for my bed so she can sit up and have an elevation to look out the window. The hardest thing that happens in her life is, oh no, the pillow was too soft and I got scared. The wind blew me the wrong way and I got scared and screamed. Oy vey. Anyway, that's my lemon. What's yours?
Yeah. My lemon is we just found out when Audrey's next rock band, School of Rock recital is, and I'm on tour. So I'm going to miss her. Yeah, I'm going to miss her rock recital. They're doing, here's a set list. They're doing Sharks by Imagine Dragons. They're doing Psycho Killer by the Talking Heads. And she is singing lead vocals on All the Small Things.
Oh my God. Oh, Rachel has to take video of this. I have
Yeah.
to see this. That's
It's going to be
amazing.
very cute. Yes. Well, you are welcome to attend in person should you want, but I also understand why you might not want to do that.
I'll think about it. You'll have to tell me the
about it.
date after we finish recording.
I will. It'll be very cute, but I'm bummed to miss it. Also, their
Yeah.
band consists of, as I've mentioned, 2 kids on drums playing the same part.
Ugh,
It's very funny. I love it.
amazing.
Yes.
Is it
and
like a
sorry,
tiny
and
set for a child?
No, it's a normal drum set. I mean, these kids are like middle school-ish,
Yeah, yeah.
so
Growing
they're
like weeds.
big enough to play, real drums. So that's.
Oh
why
my God, is
I'm
she going to
bummed
be in
miss
middle
it.
school next year? Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
Yep. Here, I mean, I always thought of middle school growing up as 7th and 8th, but here it's 6, 7, 8. So yes, she is going to a middle school.
I
next
can't
year.
believe it.
Yep.
When we started this show, she was in kindergarten.
And here's the crazier part. I knew her when she was born. She used to be 0
As we
when
all
we met. Yeah.
used to be. Great. Now it's time for Peaches. As usual, I will run through mine. Ooh, but I have 3 visual aids for this. This is
Look
exciting.
at this.
My first one, I've been trying to get a copy of The Tunnel for like a year and a half because it's getting re-released, so you couldn't get it fucking anywhere. There's no ebook. Finally, found it on eBay for a reasonable price that wasn't $50.
It's amazing.
Stoked. Amazing. My second peach is that I forgot that I ordered like a month ago a massive box of snacks from AsianFoodGrocer.com, which every once in a while I will do because I love. They have all the crazy Lay's flavors. They've got all the flavors of Pringles. They got all the Pockies, all the Oreos, all the good ramen. So now I have so many snacks, and right before this show, I was indulging in some authentic Japanese seaweed bits. That's what it says on the thing. It's the little stick rice cracker with the nori around it.
Great.
I love those so much. So I have a ton of like crackers and nori sweets, and I thankfully had the foresight to not get a bunch of chocolate things because it's been so hot that shit's just been melting. Which reminds me, I was going to say earlier that I was having a stress dream earlier this week, and it involved me being in an incredibly awkward situation that someone had told me a piece of information that was very upsetting, and I was trying to be like cool about it. Being like, oh, awesome, cool. And sitting in an enclosed space with them. And I was like, all right, I have to control my reaction. I have to control my reaction. I'm not brooking any reaction to this information other than like, happy for you. And it was like peak stress in the dream. The silence is dragging out. And I woke up as I was sitting up in bed saying, so the weather's been pretty gross lately, huh?
Fantastic.
I so rarely wake up still saying a thing from a dream. So that was very funny to be in motion
Oh,
while
I like
saying
that.
it.
Yeah, that's great.
And the palpable relief when I was conscious and realized that situation was not actually happening. Good stuff.
It's very funny.
Anyway, my final peach is that due to staring at screen too much, I have decided that I need to really commit to getting back into physical hobbies. So while I was watching Kevin Can Fuck Himself, I started learning embroidery.
Oh, look at you. You made a cute little mushroom.
Yeah, I got some embroidery kits that have the pattern pre-drawn, and I've been
So
doing
you
it.
did not draw that. You are
No.
using a kit. Okay, cool.
Yeah, but I've been doing a terrible job and learning a lot, but it's very relaxing.
That's awesome. Look at that.
Yeah, I'd like to eventually, draw my own designs on fabric and then embroider
Yeah.
it. But for now, I'm just learning simple stitches and figuring it out.
That's fantastic.
What are your peaches?
Well, excuse me.
My bonus peach is watching the guy get attacked by pigeons. It was extremely funny.
Peach number 1. I mentioned, I believe I popped the video game Returnal a few months maybe ago. I have beaten Returnal.
Congrats.
I have gone through all 6 biomes and beat the final boss. Now, there's another ending apparently that I have yet to unlock, but I'm well on my way towards doing that specific thing. But yes, this was it's a roguelike. It can be, like many roguelikes, shockingly hard at times, and when you die, you die. It's a time loop kind of game.
Okay.
And you just restart at the beginning. You die, you lose most of your material and you just start over. I loved it. I'm having a great time playing it. Boss design, very cool. It just feels great to play. So highly recommend it. But thrilled. There was a boss, for those of you who follow the game, Nemesis in Biome 3, that I took forever to beat. But then when I beat the game, I went back, got him first try. And I was like, oh, I got better at this. That's nice. That's a nice feeling. Peach number 2 was a conversation that Audrey reported she heard at school. She said some first graders-ish were doing perler beads. And apparently she was like doing something nearby and she heard these kids having this conversation. And one kid goes, I bet you guys can't guess who my best friend is. And someone says, is it your mom? And then this kid goes, no, my mom's not my best friend. She's my soulmate. Isn't that cute?
That's adorable.
Yes.
I think a funny response to, is it your mom, is no, it's your mom.
It's your mom. And we're best friends. Yeah, I just love that. No, my mom's not my best friend. She's my soulmate.
God. And over perler beads. What a classic.
I know, with
I'm
a
glad
tiny
kids are still doing perler beads. That's the stuff.
I love kids. They're just so funny and they will say anything, notably my child, who actually was very good. Sometimes if I get approached by a fan in public, Audrey will go a little nuts. And actually at the Ren Fair, she was really keeping it together very, very well. So I think she's maturing.
Love that.
And my final peach is so Audrey's 5th grade graduation is while I'm on tour, which sucks. And it's on a day off, which I got my hopes up. But then it's at 8:30 a.m. on my day off. Oof. And I was like, it's when we're coming from Austin. And I was like, can I do it? And I found a flight and it would get in. It would be like, I probably wouldn't make it. I'm like, fuck, I don't know what I'm going to do. And then they moved the graduation 2 hours later. So now I think I can make her graduate, unless there's, some flight insanity. But if the flight's on time, and even if it's a little late, I will get home in time for her graduation ceremony. So I'm going to fly in for one day, be there for graduation, then fly out to Denver the next. But yeah, I was just like, I could get this ticket, but I'm going to miss it. I'd have to get from LAX to her school in rush hour in less than an hour. And it just was like not going to happen. But now it is probably, so I've already bought the ticket and everything, and I think I'll be able to get there. But it's it's a privilege to be able to tour, but sometimes you miss stuff at home.
It's also a privilege to be able to be at your kids' stuff consistently. I mean, that is a thing that sticks with you. And I don't mean when you just miss one or two or whatever. I mean, if it's like my childhood where one parent can't bother to come to one fucking thing ever, it gives you a complex among others.
Yeah.
So.
No, Rachel and I, we make an effort to be there. It's when I'm home, I chaperone school things. We did an arts festival.
Yeah, because you're great parents.
We try, and I know how it would feel. I mean, not my parents are also very supportive and came to all my stuff, but I can imagine how bad it must feel to have parents who aren't coming to stuff. One of Audrey's friends, her mom, just doesn't show up to stuff and is like out shopping or whatever at recitals, and this kid's distraught.
Yeah, it fucking sucks.
It sounds like it sucks.
Shout out to my dad, who was at every single thing ever. Anyway, those are great. Was that all three?
That was all three.
Wonderful. Those are all peaches.
Yeah. Indeed they are.
With a little acidity of an extra lemon of me being bitter about my childhood.
Yeah.
There is a topic that we should touch on before we finish this episode, which is...
Is it the Bad Book Club?
We've got another Bad Book Club coming up, and we're maybe breaking tradition a little bit, because it's not exactly a book.
Oh my.
But a fan fiction. And I don't want this to turn into a thing where we only read bad fan fiction. That's I don't want to do that.
No.
But we're making an exception because we talked about it on an episode, the recent episode with Adam Becker, whose book I finished within 20 minutes of finishing our last episode. Excellent.
Great book. Great guest, too. I loved
He
having
was
him
the
on the show.
Best. That was so much fun.
So much fun. Really sweet guy.
Yeah. So the next Bad Book Club is we're going to read Harry Potter and the Methods of Rationality. We are not under
the whole
any
thing.
circumstances going to read the whole thing. I'm going to scout and see how many chapters we read that feels manageable, and we'll let you all know if you want to read along. And as
I'm
usual,
not
we'll
doing
show up.
it's 600,000 words.
Yeah, we're not doing it.
I can maybe, I mean, we'll see. The equivalent of a couple hundred pages is probably my max
Yeah.
on this. And even that feels like, uh-oh.
I'm gonna see if there's an ebook version available, and then I'll measure out. And we'll let y'all know. So if you want to read along, but as usual, we'll show up with receipts to read aloud.
Yeah.
And it really combines two things
Now-
that I hate, which is Harry Potter and annoying irrationalist idiots.
Well, I was going to say, of all the stuff we've done, this one may have the most potential for getting people to yell at us in the comments. So I don't know.
Will it?
I mean, that maybe. I don't know what people think about this.
We're not giving Jowling, Cowling, Rowling any money by doing it.
No, not for that. I mean, the rationalists. If the rationalists who love this find us talking shit about it, will they yell at us in a funny way? I don't know.
I figured they'd yell at us for the previous episode we just did about Adam's book.
No, that's true.
But I don't know. I never read anything, so I wouldn't know. But
Yeah.
also, if you're a rationalist and you care so much about being rational, shouldn't you be able to accept criticism of something that you enjoy?
Well, I'm sure their comments will be very measured and
Rational, even?
and rational. That's right, and very well reasoned and kind. Right.
Anyway, I said that I hate Harry Potter, and this touches on a thing that annoys me is when people act like it was never good or they never enjoyed it. I loved it as a kid. Fond memories of reading it as a child. Whatever. It's I don't like it now because the author, instead of fucking off with her billions of dollars, chooses to be a hateful asshole.
Yes.
Determined to ruin her whole legacy. She simply could have shut the fuck up. And instead chose not to. What a dumbass.
And thus made pretty much everybody in the world mad at her for no
Yeah.
good reason.
Anyway, so we are going to read Harry Potter and the Methods of Rationality, and that will be our episode next week.
Probably next week, yeah. Although, well, actually, we'll talk about that. I think we were going to have at least
guest,
2
and then-
recordings next week because I'm about to head out and tour for pretty soon.
Sorry, I didn't roll my eyes. That didn't happen. I did not grimace.
You can do whatever you like. It's your face. I respect your bodily autonomy, Leighton, and I'm not going to tell you how to control your facial expressions. So that, I'm an
Cool.
ally,
Thanks.
and I'm going to continue to be one.
All right, great. So we'll see you all next
I
time.
was reaching to the end recording button and I didn't get there fast enough.
Patreon.com/late night if you want ad-free and video episodes every week for as low as $2 a month. Please get in there.
What a deal.
It's so good we shouldn't be doing it.
Yes, at prices this low, we're practically giving this podcast
This is
away.
this
which
is a
we
loss
are.
leader. If
Yeah.
you hate the ads, if you hate the Acast jingle, guess what? $2 a month. I know things are tight for a lot of people right now, but that
Not on my body.
what else can you get for $2 right now? You tell me. Mm-hmm. All right. Well,
Nothing.
see you next time. Take care of
Bye.
yourselves. Take care of each other. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Leighton Night is produced by Brian Wecht and Leighton Gray. Sign up for our Patreon at patreon.com/Leighton Night. Follow us on Twitter at Leighton Night, on Instagram at Leighton_Night, or email us at leightonnight@gmail.com.